It's a beautiful night for the middle of May in Houston, Texas, as Rachel Daly and the Houston Dash hosts Alex Morgan and the Orlando Pride. Welcome inside the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. Jen, this of course is a rematch of the two most recent expansion teams in the NWSL. Houston went to Orlando, suffered a 3-1 defeat, but Randy Waldrom's expecting something different from his team tonight.
Right, Matt, when we talked to Randy earlier this week, he talked about the key words for practice for the team. Mentality, psychology. Sounds like the same thing, but his point was we have to win at home, we have to earn those points at home, and we have to go into these games knowing that we're going to win at home.
The other storyline is a very good offense on paper coming into the season. They scored 3 goals on opening night, but it slowed down. He was very disappointed in the result in Washington offensively, and it's a similar lineup, but one has to take control up front for the Dash.
Right, we've seen 6 different players score for the Dash, but none of them have had more than 1 goal. We've seen some rotation in that front 3. We're back to the front 3 from that opening game, and Randy says he wants those players to step up and claim that starting spot.
All right, let's go to our player to watch for the Orlando Pride. It's our first visit to BBVA Compass Stadium in a club game. It's Alex Morgan.
Right, we missed her in 2014. She was injured 2015 off at the Women's World Cup, but she's here tonight. She scored one against the Dash in the Orlando home opener in front of more than 23,000. And last week, also at home, got the game winner, a late chip over the keeper, earned Goal of the Week honors from NWSL. So she's got 2 goals in 5 games, and she's played every minute for Orlando. I know her previous clubs would be envious of that.
Yeah, Tom Sermani said that he was very pleased with her health, the fact that she's starting to find more cohesion and understanding with her teammates.
Right, and a big member, of course, of the 2011 and 2015 Women's World Cup teams, also a gold medal winner at the Olympics in London, and going a little bit further back in WOSO history, the #1 draft pick in the final year of WPS.
She figures to have a big month in August down in Rio de Janeiro. Now for the Dash player to watch, another first-round pick in this year's draft, it's Rachel Daly.
Rachel, one of those 3 first-round draft picks that the Dash picked up in Baltimore. She's one of the league leaders in assists this season. She's had 3 in 5 games, assisting Chioma Bagagu and here Carly Lloyd in that opening match, as well as scoring the first goal of the season for the Dash with this great one-touch strike to the upper corner against Chicago, and she won Player of the Week honors with that goal.
Jen, Randy told us she's probably been the most consistent forward. She has 1 goal, but she's been probably the one that's come closest to taking the bull by the horns in that front 3.
Right, she's played every match for the Dash this season. She's had the most energy and such a great career at St. John's, but there's got to be more.
For more on that career, let's go to the 3rd member of our team. He'll be on the sidelines all night. More from Ben Crook.
Rachel Daly before the game. She's pleased with the 3 assists, but like you said, is a goal scorer at heart. Hasn't scored in 4 games. In her last season with St. John's University, never went more than 2 games without scoring. She wants to get back on the score sheet for the Dash to repay that faith that Randy Waldrom has had starting her every game this season. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ben. Be expecting more from Ben throughout the night. We'll take our only break. When we come back, the starting lineups for both teams. Kickoff just minutes away. It's the Houston Dash and Orlando Pride from BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream. and this was my chance to grasp it.
For this Memorial Day, Honda's celebrating the way Americans celebrate best, with pyrotechnics. Because when you can get a Honda for an incredible holiday deal, we think it's worthy of its own monument. Meet Mount Savemore.
Get into KBB.com's best value brand at the Honda Memorial Day sales event.
Daddy, you done yet?
One last screw, sweetie, and we're done.
Sweet! You deserve the sweet reward of a Diet Dr. Pepper.
I do?
You built this big old house with that tiny tool.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh.
That is sweet.
Oh, yeah!
You know, the game's about to start.
That's my ride.
Is that our cat?
Step on it. You sweet! Diet Dr. Pepper. It's the sweet one.
Join us for a post-game movie on the pitch this Friday after we take on the Washington Spirit.
Welcome back to BBVA Compass Stadium. It's the Dash and Orlando Pride, just minutes away from Houston. Let's get to the starting lineups. And first for Orlando, a few familiar faces for the Pride.
Right, Matt, all three of the former Dash players on the Pride are starting tonight. Toni Pressley getting her first minutes in defense. Becky Edwards is a late sub for Laura Holloway, and Kaylin Kyle in the midfield. Also important to note, Steph Catley, and she had their first goal of the season for Orlando Pride in Portland. Ashlyn Harris has had 2 save of the weeks for the Pride.
Yeah, LOA was in the starting lineup, got injured in warm-ups. We'll get more from Ben Crook early in this game. Now the lineup for Randy Waldrum and the Houston Dash. It's the same front three as opening day.
Daly, Ohai, Becky, we're hoping the same magic happens with those 3 goals. Also, you've got Carrie Ricaro and Denise O'Sullivan getting their first starts at home. Also, Morgan Bryan pushing back to defensive mid, stepping in for Amber Brooks. Randy Waldrum just wanting to change it up just a little bit. Nothing wrong with Brooks, just trying a slightly different formation.
And now the Houston Methodist injury report first for the Houston Dash. Carly Lloyd still out with a sprained MCL in her right knee. She is on the sideline tonight, was active throughout warm-ups, just watching as she tries to get back and get ready for Rio in August. Melissa Henderson still out with her sprained MCL, also in the right knee. Now for the Orlando Pride, one big miss for them is Sarah Hagan. She's been a big part of the first 5 games, out with a right ankle sprain, and Cami Levin on the disabled list with an appendectomy.
And with Cami Levin being out for that 45 days, that means they're able to sign Christina Birkenrode to a professional contract this week.
So they dash in their home orange uniforms, the Pride, and they're all purple from top to bottom. A 3-1 win for Orlando. And Randy Waldrum is disappointed how the goals sort of came in quick succession. First the own goal, then the quick free kick. Beautiful goal from Andressa in that one, but Orlando before a record crowd with a 3-1 win. This is the second of 4 meetings, Jen, so a huge opportunity to sort of get the mentality back for the Dash and not fall into an early hole against their new rivals.
Right, each NWSL team is paired with another team for 4 matches on the season, whereas you play everybody else just home and away. So it's Orlando and Houston paired together. So this is, like you said, the second of 4 matches. So you have to pay a lot more attention to that opponent.
Our referee tonight is Greg Dobka. Outstanding conditions, 79 degrees at kickoff here in Houston.
Hard to believe that Orlando had a 4-hour weather delay getting here yesterday.
Huge winds coming in from San Antonio to the central part of Houston as the Dash gained possession off an early throw. And here's Denise O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan gains a corner kick for the Dash. So a bright start. There's that mentality. Randy Waldrum told us he wanted his team to be ready, more urgency. And I think 30 seconds in, we've seen it.
And every moment that Denise O'Sullivan has played, she's brought an urgency to this team. She's really made a difference coming off the bench.
Andressa to take the corner kick. Ashlyn Harris, no problem. She's had a great start to this season. Has started every game, back-to-back shutouts each of the last 2 games.
And 2 Save of the Week wins from the league award where fans vote on Facebook and Twitter.
Good skill from O'Sullivan. A brace on the left leg for Bryan, working with Chapman on this near side. Belonze. Well defended by Andressa. The other thing that Waldrum told us as Andressa tries to spring Daly forward is that with the offense slowed the last few games, having another technical ball-playing central midfielder in there should help things out. Bad back pass by Presley. Becky just a little bit long with the touch, but that could have been disastrous for Orlando. Just played it right to the feet of Janine Becky there. Toni Presley against her former team.
And it's such a different situation for Randy Waldrum to have than just 2 seasons ago when, you know, he said they played who they played because that's all they had. Now he actually has, you know, 5 potential people that he can play it forward, and how do you choose?
Happen. Here's a ball over the top. Williams off her line to clear. Kaylin Kyle. One by Poliana for the Dash. Ojai curled run, trying to stay onside. The flag comes up. It was too far for Ojai. But good ball from the Brazilian Poliana. Morgan. Denise O'Sullivan. Good confidence on the ball through midfield. Away from Becky Edwards. And now back to Ashlyn Harris. Harris was a natural fit to go back to Orlando, a Florida native from Satellite Beach.
A lot of Florida connections on this team, whether it's they grew up there or they went to school there. Of course, you know, Toni Presley, Becky Edwards, Jamia Fields, all Florida State alums.
Belonze. Now here's Edmonds, pressuring Moros. Williams out to Alicia Chapman. O'Sullivan out wide for Daly. Becky Edwards, a big part of the Dash in their inaugural season of 2014.
Yeah, she set the club record for minutes played in a season and games started in a season.
Here's Ojai. Good run from her. And then the cross handled by Harris.
And we mentioned earlier that 6 different players have scored for the Dash, but Ojai has not been one of them. She's the all-time club leader for goals. You know, she's had an assist this season, but just like the rest of the offense, it kind of stalled after that first game. And so she's one of those players that needs to step up and make an imprint on this game.
Edwards. Sanderson. Good block that time from Chapman. It's going to roll out for a corner kick. That was Kristen Edmonds. Very high praise from Tom Sermani. Before we get to this corner kick, though, let's go to Ben Crook. More information on the late change to the lineup.
Yeah, guys, I talked to Tom Sermani. It sounded like Alloway had a groin strain during warm-ups. Monica moves from her defensive midfielder spot into a center back. Dash familiar Becky Edwards steps into the central midfield in her place.
Thank you, Ben. We'll be hearing from him all night. So a groin injury to Alloway. Sanderson goes short with the corner. Well read by Chapman. And a free kick to the dash. That was Steph Catley, who was the target off the short corner, but Chapman, great anticipation.
And it's going to be interesting to see, Matt, with Alloway out, this is the first time there's been a change in that back four. It's been the exact same back four every game. This changes it up. Is that going to change the comfort level, the communication between the back four and the keeper?
Yeah, good point, Jen. And that was one of Tom Sermani's remarks. We talked to him today about you don't normally see an expansion team in any league have the kind of defensive record Orlando has had, with just 4 goals against through 5 games. And we said, are you surprised by how good the defense has been? He said yes and no. He knew the kind of players he was getting. Most of them are international caliber, have a track record of good defending and good resumes, but the familiarity was a problem in not playing with each other.
Yeah, pretty short preseason, a lot of international call-ups.
But yeah, like you said, look across the back line. Most of the 4 that were on the lineup sheet tonight have started every game. So the first real time Sermani's had to adjust, and it comes on the road. Alloway had played every single minute for Orlando. 43 caps now for Australia. Olympics now less than 3 months away, and Sermani told us he expects, or he thinks, Australia could get a medal at these Olympics.
Yeah, I know they don't fall on a lot of people's automatic favorites list, but you have to keep in mind that this is a team that performed very well at the Women's World Cup and has not lost anyone to retirement, injury, anything else. They won the Asian qualifying tournament 5 games in 10 days, and they did not lose a game.
Yeah, he also said there, at that perfect time of age and players in their prime, most everyone's under 25 or around 25, so they're kind of coming into their own.
But they all have 1 or 2 World Cups under their belt. So yeah, it's that great mix of age and experience.
Dummied by Kyle. Well read by Janine Becky. The rookie gets forward. As Ohio O'Sullivan, Daly wants it on the far side. The big switch from Becky. Daly challenges. And Edwards away for Orlando. Chapman with Becky. It's a dash throw-in. Oh, high. Andressa. Rocaro. Good patient build-up from the dash. Working the ball from right to left. Now Andressa trying to pick out Chapman. Here comes Monica, 29-year-old Brazilian. And a throw into Houston. Catch Dash Soccer in HD all season long on Root Sports Southwest, the home of Dash Soccer and Houston Dynamo Soccer.
Yeah, this game will replay Monday night. So if anybody wants to watch it again on Root Sports.
There's Tony Presley. Just enough from Poliana backpedaling. Heads it out for a throw-in. Jasmine Spencer on that far side for Orlando. Sanderson. Relentless defending that time from Kerry Riquero. Referee plays advantage. O'Sullivan down behind the play. Poliana forward. Has Becky on this near side. Ojai joining. Monica got a foot in for Orlando. Behind the play, O'Sullivan back to her feet, jogging back towards midfield. Morgan Bryant had eyes for Daly. Presley was there for Orlando. Moros. Good work from Andressa to find Chapman. Here's Becky. Good ball for Morgan Bryant. Runs recycle for the dash. Daly now. And well cleared that time, Jose Belanze. Here's Morgan Bryant onto her left. Alex Morgan, I should say, through the box. Cleared away by the Houston dash.
It's the Battle of the Morgan, so everyone gets a free pass for swapping their names.
Sanderson. And out for a goal kick. Yeah, we even had it in the promo read a few weeks ago, so.
But you caught that one.
Keeper Notes has published the first ever comprehensive almanac for women's professional soccer in the United States. It's the 2016 NWSL Almanac. This PDF almanac includes comprehensive stats from the first 3 seasons of the league, plus a complete draft history, list of league awards, photos, and 2016 club rosters as of May 15. Buy your copy now at keepernotes.com.
So if anyone's wondering why I haven't replied to emails in the last month or so, it's because I was working on that.
Dash trying to build out of the back off the goal kick. Orlando wins possession. Morgan into the middle. It was a good chance for Edwards, but great defending from Andressa. She did just enough to throw Edwards off balance. And now it's ripped just past the near post by Jasmine Spencer. So a confident build-up from the dash, but Orlando made them pay. And it was Morgan with a good ball through the middle. And Edwards sort of whiffed on it, but good pressure from the Brazilian Andressa.
Yeah, the defense right on her shoulder. You know, so even that laser feed by Alex, she just wasn't a way for Becky to finish that.
Jen, going back to the almanac, what was the hardest part about it?
Compiling the stats, the all-time league stats for some of the more obscure things where they're in the league stats, so I kind of felt they should be out there. So it was kind of fascinating to see who's the league leader in certain things. So Kaylee Ojai, she's
great
like...
ball, the flag stays down. Here's Becky.
Oh.
And the referee had a very good view. Greg Dopka waved it off. Good recovery. Jose Belanze. Not much of a fight from Becky. A great through ball and great defensive recovery from Belanze. Best chance so far for the dash.
Great through ball, great run by Becky. Defense just kind of bumps her with the shoulder. It's a pretty clean play.
And they got there at basically the same time, hip on hip.
Right. And what I was going to say, speaking of that run, is it was interesting to see in the stats that Kaylee Ojai is like 2 or 3 on the all-time list for offsides. So a little more work this season, she could be the all-time leader.
She's onside here. She draws a foul. Free kick for the dash against Jose Belanze, the 30-year-old Quebec native. Andressa to take. Bryan, Poliana, Daly among the targets. Roquero gets forward as well for Houston. Andressa towards the back post, no problem for Ashlyn Harris. Miscommunication from Houston. Chapman trying to recover against Alex Morgan. She's in. And I think she slipped towards the end under pressure from Chapman, but Morgan has given Houston some problems here in the first 15 minutes.
But impressive recovery from Alicia Chapman after she saw that Moros had lost Morgan to catch up with Morgan not once but twice.
Yeah, it looked like Chapman and Moros had a miscommunication. Neither won the ball in the air. Belanze. Poliana. Roquero. Torn labrum in her hip. Fast recovery. First start at home here tonight. And Morgan Bryan wide of the near post.
And Roquero played most of her last college season with that injury.
Unbelievable. The Hilton Garden Inn, Pearland, is the perfect place to hold your next corporate meeting, wedding, quinceañera, or your family reunion. Find us at houstonpearland.hgi.com, conveniently located just 10 miles from downtown Houston. And it's a good location, a lot now in Pearland, in that proximity to the Hilton Garden Inn Pearland. '18th minute here in Houston. Best chance so far was for Becky Edwards off an Alex Morgan cross. She didn't connect on the shot as she slid under heavy duress from Andressa. Best chance for Houston was Janine Becky on a great through ball from Andressa, but she was squeezed off the ball by Belanze. Pretty even first half, I would say.
Yeah, the match in Orlando was pretty even the first half too, ended 0-0, and then that second half was just a completely different story with that own goal maybe a minute after the second half, and then Leanne Sanderson's amazing free kick opportunity.
Edmonds. Sanderson. Steph Catley overlapping. Dash expected this. She had a big night getting forward in the first matchup. Waldron wanted to neutralize her more tonight. Floated across, headed away by Chapman. Good work, Denise O'Sullivan. Becky to her right. Here comes, that's Ojai on the right. Becky on this near side. Ojai into the box. Can Ojai get her first? And it's just off the other side of the netting. Great run from Ojai. Created space for herself, but just missed to the near post.
Great dummy around Presley. Good shot, just, so close, but hits the back of the netting. We all thought that was in for a moment. Would have been her first goal on the 2016 season.
Daly over the top. Too far for O'Sullivan. Now, we talked to Randy today. They had 3 goals on opening night against Chicago, but only 3 goals since in their subsequent 4 games. He was outright disappointed with the effort and the offensive firepower on the road at Washington as Andressa wins it in midfield. Good recovery blocked by Becky Edwards. Now it's Denise O'Sullivan. Good turn from Ojai. She's onside. Ojai ran out of room. It's a goal kick to Orlando. Just to continue that thought, Jen, I said, what will we see from your team when they're playing well? The front 3, the midfield. He said mobility of movement, one of the 3 dropping off into midfield. He said what he doesn't want to see is all 3 standing in one line against the back 4, waiting for a ball over the top. That's what he saw too much of at Washington. So when we see Becky, Daly, Ojai dropping off in the midfield, players interchanging, things like that, that is when the Dash are playing at their peak offensively and what Waldron wants to see.
And making some switches with Andressa, Denise O'Sullivan, and we've even seen Alicia Chapman and Poliana come way up from the back.
He also said ball circulation's important, quick and precise he wants to see. And I think that's what we saw in opening night against Chicago, those movements, a lot of the forwards flaring wide out to the wings. Kristen Edmonds. Well read there from Moros against Leanne Sanderson.
And I think it's interesting to note, Matt, that in 5 games, Orlando only have 1 more goal. But they're in a different place in the standings because they've won all 3 of their home games, even though they lost their 2 road games. And we've talked about this in the past, that it's getting those 3 points at home that will make the difference.
Exactly. 9 points from 3 home games for Orlando. The Dash with 4 from 2 home games. That's the difference right now as Andressa draws a foul at the center circle against Becky Edwards.
And the winner of this game, if we have a winner, if there's not a tie, will end up basically in second place for the league. Orlando would be clear in second. Dash would be tied with Chicago. Of course, you've got 4 more games to play this weekend, but that's an important 3 points.
Here's the width from Becky. Good run from Ojai. O'Sullivan, good thought with the ball. Forward towards Ojai, and Orlando deals with it well. But that was a great example, Jen, right there. Becky right in front of the Orlando bench, trying to establish some width, stretch out this back 4. I think what Waldron wants. It opened up that lane for Ojai to run into. Poliana defends.
And it's also a slightly different look with Morgan Bryan taking that position that we've mostly seen Amber Brooks in this season.
Great header from Ojai, finds Andressa. She expected a run, got it late from Becky. Some frustration from the Brazilian, which you'll see.
And I think defensively, it's been great to see how comfortable Becca Morris has been in a center back spot when she's mostly played outside back.
Wonderful ball from the left from Orlando, just a bit in front from Alex Morgan, who was appreciative, gave a thumbs up after the play. Williams read it well off her line. But she's been a handful through 25 minutes. The lone forward tonight. O'Carroll. And the flag is up on Daly on that far side.
Thought it was interesting to hear this week that Leanne Sanderson met with British Prime Minister David Cameron. It's kind of an interesting invitation. You know, you can say it's the first professional soccer player from the U.S. to meet the Prime Minister. But of course, not the first NWSL player to meet a head of state. We had Stephanie Roche invited to the White House last year, and she even brought him brought Obama a Dash 44 jersey.
Monica. Back to Ashlyn Harris. Orlando getting its outside backs forward. Direct here for Monica. Good ball on Dressa. Here comes Morgan Bryan over midfield. Edwards. Waldrum saying today, we are still yet to put together a complete game. Made some adjustments after half at Kansas City. I think the win against Chicago at home was a very good second half, but yet to play two good halves in one game. I think the rhythm a little bit off tonight. It was a good start. They got that corner kick within 30 seconds, but some of the passing and sharpness of this Dash team looks a bit off in the first half hour.
It's a different midfield for both teams. Like we talked about, Morgan Bryan stepping in for Amber Brooks. And Becky Edwards played a lot of minutes in the first two games for Orlando, but the last three came in as a very late sub.
Poliana finds Daly out wide. Janine Becky. Chapman. Good work. That's a really good build-up from the Dash. In the end, just well defended, but promising from Houston. Andressa. Belanze. O'Sullivan looping header, no problem for Harris. Just 4 goals against in 5 appearances for Harris, the 2011 WPS Goalkeeper of the Year.
Winning the championship with Western New York Flash. And, you know, we all know she's fighting for that number 2 spot on the Olympic squad. Only 2 goalkeepers go to Rio. Well, 3 go, but only 2 are actually on the Olympic team. You know, we had 3 keepers for the Women's World Cup team last year. Hope Solo, Listener, Ashlyn Harris. It really did matter who was 2 or 3. Now it matters. And we haven't seen Harris get any national team time since September.
Andressa. Harassed by Edwards. Now it's Daly for Ojai. Good settle, but the flag is up. Offside was Kalia Ojai. Let's hear more from our sideline reporter, Ben Crook.
Yeah, guys, on the offside call before this, Randy Waldrum was yelling at Kalia Ojai not to get stuck on the same side as the other attackers. The Dash forward 3 have a lot of liberty to move around, but he wants to make sure that they're keeping good spacing and not giving the Orlando defenders, all 3 of them, in the same spot.
Good stuff, Ben. And that's more to what Waldrum told us earlier today, the mobility and the movement, interchanging, quickness in passing as Riquero targets Ojai. As he said, he thought they got too predictable. 3 standing on the back line, waiting for the ball over the top at Washington. But he wants the overloads. He wants the ball isolated on a wing with the outside backs joining. I think he thinks they can play much better soccer than just direct balls over the top. Becky. Muscled out by Edwards. Andressa wins it from Alex Morgan. Now it's Moros. O'Sullivan. Here come the dash. Rachel Daly lost her footing as she cut under her left. But again, this last 5 or 10 minutes, Jen, has been much better for Houston. Ojai against Presley. Another good turn from Ojai. But the pass just wasn't there. She had Becky. It was a tough angle. Good layoff from Alex Morgan. Sanderson right back to Morgan. Morgan away from Poliana. Good numbers in the box for Houston. Chapman got some good spin on her behalf and able to clear.
Way to follow that ball and make it a throw-in instead of a corner.
Belanze. Andressa does well. Bryan under the feet of Ojai. Belanze was allocated to Orlando by Canada, most recently with FC Rosengard in Sweden.
Same club that signed Ella Masser and Aaron McLeod, formerly of the Dash.
Good help from Becky, tracking back to defend. Morgan down behind the play. And Morris will put it out. Maybe that left ankle for Alex Morgan as she gets back to her feet under her own power. But she's been active here in the first 34 minutes, Jen. Applying a lot of pressure defensively, leading the line.
It looks like she's saying, I'm okay, ref. I'll shake it off. I can walk this off.
But exactly what Orlando wanted when they made the trade. Marquee star for their first season in Orlando. U.S. national team player and one that's been healthy, has played every game thus far, starting each time.
And it's really a tale of two expansion drafts. You know, the league was in a different place when the Dash came on board in December 2013. It was a very late addition. You know, they were making up the rules as they needed them. So, you know, the first time to do an expansion draft. So I think Orlando benefited from some of the lessons that were learned both by the Dash and the league of handling an expansion. But also I think the growth of the league, the new players coming on board, you look at the players that Orlando was able to pick up in the expansion draft, not because of a trade, but because they were made available by their teams, like Leanne Sanderson. It's just day and night almost.
Great ball from Edwards. Good defending, though, from Daly. That was Jasmine Spencer for Orlando. Beautifully curled ball, though, from Edwards to set up at Spencer. She tries another one there. Poliana is in the way.
And then you look at a player like Becky Edwards, who she's been on 4 different teams in 4 different seasons, but not because she's a throwaway player, but because of the value that she brings. You know, before she tore her ACL in the 2013 season, the talk was Sermani wanted to bring her up, you know, into the national team, and she was a big part of that expansion year for the Dash. And then, you know, Tom Sermani traded with Western New York to get her for this team because he knows what she could bring to the table.
Dash on over to howlermagazine.com every Tuesday to check out the latest episode of The Mix Zone, the weekly women's soccer podcast hosted by my partner, Jen Cooper. The Mix Zone covers the U.S. women's national team, NWSL, and more. Subscribe via iTunes by searching for Howler.
Now, this week we'll be talking about the 25 players called into the U.S. national team camp. The roster for the 2 Japan games will be pulled from that 25.
O'Sullivan took a strong challenge from 2 Orlando players. Ref let them play, and now it's a Houston throw-in. What do you think the big storylines are for the 25, Jen, heading into Rio?
Well, of course, Mallory Pugh. You know, it's funny. I think she's picked up 11 caps this spring. So we're like, oh yeah, she's been part of the team now. But she just got her first cap in January. She'll be part of the U20 squad that plays the Women's World Cup this fall, and she's age eligible to be part of the next under 20 squad. So I think she's one of the big stories.
Good ball, Daly. And it'll be a corner kick for Houston. Hustling back to defend was Belanze, but that was all started from a quick throw-in from Kaylee Ohai, a very alert play. I think that's the kind of things that Waldron wants to see, is the urgency at home. An innocuous throw in at midfield led to that.
And Orlando almost returned the favor with an own goal there. You saw Ashlyn Harris getting a little nervous. That came a little too close.
And that's the sort of movement I think Waldron wants. It's the mobility, it's the interchange. That was a switch of field to the right, then Daly finding Ohai in the box. A lot more tough to defend than simple balls over the top. Andressa standing over it. Two right on the goal line for Houston. And not her best effort. We've come to expect such consistency from Andressa on the service, and that one did not give her teammates a chance.
I think another big story in the 25 players called up to this camp is Allie Long. You know, someone who has been such a stalwart in NWSL, has done really well for Portland, especially holding down the fort per se when the national teamers are away. It's great to see her finally get another call back into camp, and you know, we saw her play 2 games and even get her first 2 goals against Columbia last month. Of course, then poor Portland Thorns, her called up, as well as Adriana Franch getting a call into this camp. It's like, how many more of Mark Parsons' players can they take?
Good thought there from Andressa. Becky nearly got there. That's the ball that Andressa's been playing throughout the night. From midfield, just into the edge of the box on the left side of midfield as O'Sullivan draws a foul. Great skill from Andressa. And great hustle from Edmonds, recovering for Orlando, as we said. Sermani told us today, probably their most outstanding player this season. A player that he admitted they didn't really know in depth as far as a scouting report, as she was part of the trade with Edwards, but a very pleasant surprise in Orlando this season.
And she's another one of those players who could get to the next level because of the league. You know, drafted out of Rutgers. She played 22 games with Western New York Flash in 2014, another 11 last season. And, you know, she had that great feed to Alex Morgan last week that led to the chip and game-winning goal.
Brian for Chapman. Chance here for the dash. Ohai. And the flag came up against Janine Becky. It looked like a scattered back line for Orlando. I thought the flag might stay down, but no argument from the Texas Tech product, Janine Becky.
Janine Becky, the all-time career scorer for the Red Raiders. And now a solid part of that Canadian squad that'll be going to Rio. You know, she wasn't on the World Cup squad. She was an alternate, but John Herdman was focusing mostly on veterans last year. But now, you know, she scored a couple goals when they were here in Houston in February. She had the game-winning goal against Brazil in the Algarve Cup final. And we're hoping she'll have some more for the Dash.
Oh, high offside once again. Orlando with the restart. O'Sullivan gets forward well. I think Ojai thought she may have been offside, so she stopped her run. But nice to see O'Sullivan joining the forwards. Here's Chapman. Miscleared initially by Orlando. Jose Belanze. Turned 30 on Saturday. Sanderson. And a throw in now for Houston. Be sure to visit HoustonSoccerShop.com for all your Dash gear. Grab a Carly Lloyd jersey. And we'll finish this in a second as Becky finds Ojai just under her foot. Second time in this half, it's gone under Ojai's trap foot. But more promising quality to get into the offensive third for the Dash. They just need to find a way to create a few more chances. Belanze. Just a touch behind Sanderson. Not the most exciting first half, Jenna. Maybe a chance or two for each team, but a midfield battle, I would say.
Definitely a midfield battle. A couple of times getting close on either end. Neither keeper having to kind of show off their save of the week chops that we've seen both of them do. Lydia Williams having an amazing game at Kansas City and at Washington Spirit the past 2 weekends.
Alicia Chapman. Throwing now for Ojai. Will they go quickly again? Rocaro on the ball. Waldrum was very pleased with her performance at Washington. He thought she handled some 1-versus-1 situations with Crystal Dunn very well. That's a very good ball from Poliana, but the flag is up again. Janine Becky frustrated. Very fine margin on that offside line.
Yeah, pretty tough assignment for your first start, you know, to get to mark the previous season's MVP. But she held her ground against Crystal Dunn, former teammate from the under-20 Women's World Cup team in 2012.
And obviously Waldrum holds Rocaro in high regard, first-round pick, but he also likes Ellie Brush a lot. He explained to Brush sort of his rationale for this move, that come Olympic time, there'll be a few moves to make, and he didn't want to make 2 moves last week at Washington, so sort of simplify things rather than moving Moros out wide and making space at center back with leading Brush in the team.
Right, because the Dash will lose Alicia Chapman to Canada, Poliana to Brazil. So Becca Morris, having played outside back, she's a natural to move out there. And then you've got Ellie Brush and Ricaro not having to start all of a sudden mid-season, but already having time there.
Yeah, it was 1 change versus 2. Going on the road to Washington, the league's best team so far this year. O'Sullivan in front of Becky. And Presley concedes the throw. 1 minute will be added on here at the end of the first half. The Dash have one last chance in them. Daly. We will talk with Randy Waldrum, the Dash coach, at the start of halftime, so stay with us. Monica clears. And there's the whistle. 2 teams meeting for the second time early in this season. And it's a replay of the first game in Orlando in April, a scoreless 45 minutes. Let's go down now to the field. Ben Crook is with Randy Waldrum.
Randy, how would you grade the team's performance so far in the first half, especially the movement in the final third?
Well, I think our movement is there. We're just being a little bit too impatient. You know, that final pass is we're too anxious to try to get that ball in. We got to be a little bit more efficient around the final third.
And you two center backs, Rebecca Moros and Carrie Ricaro, how have you felt they've dealt with Alex Morgan?
I think they've done well. I think the thing that you got to worry about, though, is it only takes one time. You know, she's got such great speed and so good at finding those spaces. And with Presley in the back and Monica that can hit those long balls, you can't switch off. You know, you got to be awake. But so far, we've handled her pretty well.
Great. Thanks, Randy. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Ben. Thank you, Randy. We will go to halftime. A lot coming up. We'll look at highlights from the first half and more from around the NWSL. Halftime score from Houston, Texas. It's the Dash 0, Orlando Pride 0.
My first ever goal was to become a professional player. It's something I dreamed of as a kid. Coming out of the tunnel for the first time, it was incredible. The only thing I think about was trying to find my dad in the crowd. That was my way of settling my nerves. He's my mentor, my hero. It was that moment that I realized this is my dream and this is my chance to grasp it.
It's La Liga BBVA versus Major League Soccer. Mexican national team stars Carlos Vela, Diego Reyes, and Real Sociedad take on Raul Rodriguez and the Houston Dynamo. Get your tickets now for the 8th annual BBVA Compass Dynamo Charities Cup, May 24th at BBVA Compass Stadium.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Who says success doesn't happen overnight? That's exactly when it happens. Night after night after night. Smoke 9. It took 9 iterations to perfect, and it's finally here. Wingstop, get at it.
Halftime here at BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston, Texas. A gorgeous night on Houston's East End. And back here in the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper, I'm Matt Peterson. We heard from Randy Waldrum at the end of the first half with Ben. He emphasized being a little more clinical and patient with the final pass and always being aware of Alex Morgan.
Right, they did a good job of shutting her down for the most part first half, but she came very close a couple of times to finding goal.
Let's jump right to the highlights. There weren't many from this first half, if we're being honest. Beginning with a chance here for the Pride, combination for Alex Morgan.
Great laser cross. Becky Edwards almost getting her first goal for the Orlando Pride, but the dash doing well to be right on her shoulder, pressure her. No one else is able to get to that ball. And then Janine Becky having a nice through ball, but Belanger right there to shoulder her off. Fair no call. And then Kaylee High had a great run, fed by Denise O'Sullivan. She dummies around her old teammate Toni Presley. Nice shot, just a little too wide. We thought it's in, but no, that's the outside netting. Would have been Kaylee's first goal on the season.
And now the stats from this first half. Just a few shots, 2 more for the Dash than Orlando, a few more fouls on the Pride, and then 1 additional corner kick. Well, a lot coming up in the second segment here at halftime of this scoreless game. We'll get into the upcoming Japan versus U.S. Women's National Team friendlies, a look ahead of the Olympics, and a little bit more with Jen. Halftime from Houston, it's the Dash nothing, Orlando Pride nothing.
It's Star Wars night at BBVA Compass Stadium on June 18th. Come watch your Houston Dynamo take on the evil empire of DC United.
Come to the game, you must.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
Getting more for your money is simpler than you might think. When you shop at Kroger, you get low prices throughout the store, weekly specials, great value from our quality brands, digital coupons, and even fuel points to help you save at the pump. No spin, just savings, pure and simple. Great food, low prices at Kroger.
Who says success doesn't happen overnight? That's exactly when it happens. Night after night after night. Smoke 9. It took 9 iterations to perfect, and it's finally here. Wingstop. Get at it.
Downtown Houston, Texas on a Friday night. Here at halftime, we're scoreless. It's the Dash and the Orlando Pride. Back here in the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson. Jen, a lot going on around the soccer world. Beginning with the upcoming friendlies, Japan against the U.S. Women's National Team. It's a replay of last July 5th, and they'll do it twice in short order.
Right, these will be the last games for the U.S. before we know who the roster is or who's on the roster for the Olympics. They're playing in June 2nd outside of Denver, and then June 5th in Cleveland. Of course, we all remember that great match in Vancouver, the 5-2 win with the Carly Lloyd hat trick, that Women's World Cup final. Very different teams on both sides. You've had a lot of retirements, some injuries, some pregnancies on the U.S. side. Same for Japan, a lot of retirements, and they did not even qualify for the 2012 Olympics. They finished, I think, 3rd or 4th in the qualifying in Asia. So 25 players called into camp. 18 will make the game day roster on each day, so it could be a different 18 on June 2nd than it is on June 5th. Now, of that 25, 22 of them are NWSL players. So you have players like we mentioned, like Adriana Franch, Ali Long, players who haven't really seen a lot of time on the national team, maybe getting another chance to prove their case. And then, of course, a lot of your usual names. 2 normal names that we see on the roster that aren't there, of course, Megan Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd, both out with injury. And then 3 of the 25 younger players, we've got, 2 are younger players, Mallory Pugh, Rose Lavelle, who are not professionals yet, and Gina Lewandowski, not the other Lewandowski, but Gina Lewandowski from Bayern Munich. She got her first cap with the national team last fall at the age of 30, so we're not sure if she's in consideration for the Olympics or it's just Jill checking out other defenders, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this camp.
Well, the Olympics start August 6th in Rio de Janeiro, a wonderful competition, and a good friend of ours, a good friend of the Houston Dash and Dynamo, Sebastian Salazar, will play a big part. He was the inaugural play-by-play broadcaster for the Dash, and he'll be in Rio.
And of course, sporting that orange tie, he will be the sideline reporter following the U.S. women to all their games. They start off in Belo Horizonte, which is where the U.S. men defeated England back in 1950. Then they actually get to go to Manaus, that incredible, hot, humid Amazon location where they even said that the paint was melting, off the stadium. And hopefully they make it all the way to Rio. But great opportunity for Sebastian. And he did tell me that he plans to make every broadcast an infomercial for the NWSL. So way to go, Sebastian.
Yeah, great for him. Really well-deserved, very hardworking broadcaster. Lastly, we mentioned it in the first half. It's the Soccer Almanac produced by Jen Cooper. It's available now, first of its kind in the United States. Jen, this seemed like a big endeavor.
Very big endeavor, something I thought about last fall, but it's the kind of information that I always wanted to have in one place, and so I knew that there were people that wanted to have the same thing. So it's available for sale at keepernotes.com, and if you order by June 1st, you will get a free mid-season update when the league takes that break in August for the Olympics. And yes, I do plan to publish a new one every year, so more stats than you could ever dream of.
Again, available at keepernotes.com. And we have a major announcement via Jen.
Right, we have a 2036 signing for the Houston Dash, Savannah Rose Peterson, born this Monday. We're so proud that Matt Peterson is now a daddy, and we normally don't like to do the personal things on the show, but Savannah, we'll hold a number for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I am very proud. 2036 draft pick, that's 20 years from now. That's a young debut. Well, we'll be back for the second half. Thanks for adding that, guys. A fun little tribute. We'll be back right after this short break. Second half kicks off right after this. Scoreless in Houston after 45 minutes.
The reason we're riding across the country this summer is to make sure that the center is here for another 20 or 30 years. The center is Houston's oldest organization that supports people with disabilities.
We believe at BBVA Compass that everybody deserves a bright future. And if we could do our simple, small part to help bring a brighter future to others, that's why we got involved.
And that's what it's all about, It's about participating, that positive energy, and being a part of helping something grow.
Learn soccer the Dynamo way and start your path to the pros. The Houston Dynamo offer youth programs for every age and skill level, from a challenging introduction to soccer to intensive competition training and opportunities to play for the Dynamo Academy.
This is Ricardo Clark of the Houston Dynamo. The Dynamo youth programs offer the professional environment required to develop your game and prepare you for success.
To find out more or to register for Dynamo youth programs, visit HoustonDynamo.com.
It's La Liga BBVA versus Major League Soccer. Mexican national team stars Carlos Vela, Diego Reyes, and Real Sociedad take on Raul Rodriguez and the Houston Dynamo. Get your tickets now for the 8th annual BBVA Compass Dynamo Charities Cup, May 24th at BBVA Compass Stadium.
For this Memorial Day, Honda's celebrating the way Americans celebrate best, with pyrotechnics. Because when you can get a Honda for an incredible holiday deal, we think it's worthy of its own monument. Meet Mount Savemore.
Get into KBB.com's best value brand at the Honda Memorial Day sales event.
It's Star Wars night at BBVA Compass Stadium on June 18th. Come watch your Houston Dynamo take on the evil empire of DC United.
Come to the game, you must.
A good look at BBVA Compass Stadium from the south end. Good crowd on hand tonight. Over 5,000 expected for the first ever Houston-based meeting of the Dash and Orlando Pride. Dash looking for a bit of payback after a 3-1 Pride win. And thanks again to Jen Cooper, Brock Jessel, and everyone else for the birth tribute at the end of halftime. Definitely unexpected.
And correction that she will be a 2038 draft pick, you know, because we know she's going to use all 4 years of her NCAA eligibility.
We should have a report from Ben Crook, who talked with Tom Sermani coming out of the locker room. So once he's settled in position, we'll hear from Ben on the thoughts from the Orlando Pride. They'll change ends. Orlando will attack Zona Naranja as its name for Houston Dynamo games. The Dash will attack the locker end. Here we go in the second half from Houston. Early energy from Alicia Chapman. Good run from O'Sullivan from midfield, but Presley got into position. And O'Sullivan couldn't get around the former Dash defender. Let's go down to Ben Crook on the sideline, who spoke with Tom Sermani a few moments ago.
Yeah, Coach Sermani said he wants to see more competitiveness and energy out of his team in the second half. He thinks that they didn't match the Dash's energy level in that first half. He also wants to see them keep the ball more so that they can generate more attack, kind of cut out some of those mistakes that they saw in the first half. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ben. Some more possession, a priority for Orlando in this half. I thought at times, Jen, when they built out of the back, very good soccer, but maybe it broke down somewhere in midfield. Good early ball from Daly. The flag came up. It was well defended from Monica, who had a step on Ojai. And that's our near side official, TJ Zabloki.
Yeah, we saw short periods of cohesion and then disconnect, and then some more cohesion and then disconnect. So I think this game's going to go to whoever really gets that fluid play going the most. And I have to say that Dash must be winning the offside battle. Or would you say that Orlando's winning the offside trap battle?
Both are correct. Houston with 5 offside in the first half, 1 more early in the second half. Andressa has a diagonal run from Ojai. Then she slips it through for Daly. Ball still in play. Daly judged to have fouled Steph Catley, and Catley may be injured. Referee asking for the training staff from the Pride to enter the field. Very good battle between the both of them. Looked like Daly rolled over the leg of Steph Catley. Now assessing the back of her neck. Catley had the shirt of Daly. Good fight between the two opponents.
And Catley, one of those players that Tom Sermanni talked about, that, you know, he gave her her first cap. I think he said she was maybe 17, 18. You know, she's played a couple of World Cups now, and going into the Olympics to be only, what, 23, 24, and you already have that experience under your belt. And for Australia, this is the first Olympics since 2004. They didn't qualify in 2008 or 2012. Of course, they were coming out of the Asian Confederation, so this is a big deal for them.
Australia debut at age 18 back in 2012. 5 appearances at last year's World Cup. Sanderson. Hopeful ball for Spencer, but easy claim at the top of the box for Lydia Williams. At Baby Dash, was that yours?
I didn't make that up, but I like that.
I think it's our producer, Brock Jessel, on the graphic at the end of halftime. Morgan, top of the box. Intended for Edwards, but she was sealed off well.
It reminds me of my draft broadcast partner who was expecting right around the draft, and his birth announcement later made point of the fact of when his daughter would be age eligible for the Under-20 Women's World Cup. You gotta love that.
Of course, Jonathan Yarley, co-host at the draft in Baltimore this year. Good work here from the dash, and it's cleared by Presley. Stephanie Oakes getting loose on the dash sideline. The other substitutes not just yet. Waldrum did tell us Morgan Bryan will not go 90 minutes tonight. He knew that, so Amber Brooks is a clear candidate to replace her at some stage. Here's Bryan on the ball.
I'd also be surprised if we see Carrie Roquero go the full 90 as well, given that, you know, up until a few weeks ago, it had been a long time since she'd played a full 90.
So the referee got the call wrong. It was a dash free kick. He pointed the wrong way. Morgan Bryan was smart, tried to play it quickly, but referee did not allow it. That's Greg Dopka. It happened. It's early in the second half. But the call initially did seem odd, Jen. It looked like Bryan was foul, but the call went against her as Chapman burst forward. And that might be that pass that Waldrum says is a little bit impatient when something's on, just kind of forcing it in when it's not clearly on, as Orlando wins a goal kick. Keep up with Keeper Notes to stay in touch with all the latest women's soccer news on Facebook, Twitter, and at keepernotes.com. You better keep her notes. O'Sullivan took some contact, play on. Morgan back to Sanderson. There's Jasmine Spencer. Morgan. And Poliana clears. 6th appearance this year for Jasmine Spencer, her 5th start, still looking for her first goal. And no problem for Lydia Williams.
Yeah, Spencer, like Kristen Edmonds, spent the last 2 seasons at Western New York Flash, scoring 3 goals each season. I would bet one of the fastest players on the Pride, possibly faster than Alex Morgan. I think Tom Sermanni referred to her as an Energizer bunny at the press conference in Orlando.
Good turn there from Spencer around Poliana. Now it's Catley. Sanderson, driven ball. That's a dangerous one. Morrow's got to head to it. Morgan, wearing the captain's armband. Good pressure. Denise O'Sullivan hustling to get in the way of Sanderson. Amber Brooks has now joined Oakes on the Dash sideline. The 2 players warming up. The other available substitutes for Randy Waldrum in the Dash, backup goalkeeper Bianca Henninger, Ellie Brush, Chioma Ubagagu, Cami Privet, and Katie Heat. Good thought that time from Morgan. Low-driven diagonal ball. But Spencer was well defended by Becca Moros. And the substitutes for Orlando.
Jamia Fields, she scored that game-winning goal for Florida State in the national championship a couple of years ago.
Daly with Becky.
You've also got rookie Christina Birkenroad, who just signed her professional contract this week. She's got a great story. Also rookies Danny Weatherholt, Sam Whitteman. Who else is on the bench? Aubrey Bledsoe, of course, the backup keeper, and Maddie Evans, who was taken from Boston in the expansion draft.
Simultaneous subs upcoming, 1 for the Dash, 1 for Orlando. It's going to be Oakes to come on. And for Orlando,
Sam Whitteman, she was their first-round draft pick in Baltimore, the number 10 pick overall.
and she'll come on for Kaylin Kyle. So Kyle, in a return to BBVA Compass Stadium, goes 56 minutes. First change made by Tom Sermanni and the Orlando Pride. Whitteman played at Cal. She was part of a U23 camp earlier this year. Redondo Beach, California native. Quiet night for Kyle, I would say, who has started every game now for Orlando. And it's pulled over the bar. First touch of this game just about 30 seconds after coming on. Whitteman a good chance from about 8 yards out. Best chance of the second half for either team after Dash could not clear. So Oakes on for Becky, the versatile Steph Oakes, who can play in the back, can play up front. She'll play forward here. And Waldrum has not had that offensive spark plug he wanted tonight. As we said, 3 goals scored on opening night, 3 goals in the following 4 games, 6 overall in the year. And Becky, who looks so good on opening night, she goes 57 minutes tonight, gives way to Oakes.
Oakes coming in at that left back and pushing Alicia Chapman over, looks like right mid. Or are they just being very fluid right now? Oakes, someone who has played forward and defense for the Dash.
Andressa, confident from that distance. It's wide for a goal. Let's go on to Ben on the first Dash substitute.
Yeah, I talked with Dash assistant coach Hiro Suzuki. He said they're just looking for a little bit more energy up top, a like-for-like substitutions. Stephanie Oakes coming in for Janine Becky.
Thank you, Ben.
And now we see more subs on the sideline warming up. Chioma Bogagu, Ellie Brush still there with Amber Brooks. No one warming up for Orlando Pride.
Good work from Oakes to keep that alive in traffic. Andressa in front of Chapman as Witteman gives chase. Good ball from Chapman. Presley defended Daly well, and it's a Dash corner kick. Morgan Bryan's going to take this one. We saw Andressa waste one late in that first half, putting it on the wrong side of the near post. Bryan to take this one. Driven to the near post, and Edwards clears. Poliana gets forward for the Dash, headed it down across the face of goal. Nobody accompanying her, and it's a good warning shot from Houston. Poliana getting very far forward for the first time tonight. Brazilian to Brazilian.
Nice cross in from Andressa, but Poli can't get that on frame. She does get it down, but not quite on goal.
I think the right side was overloaded there. You saw it Ojai and Daly in your picture. We love someone at the back post, but the service came so quickly. And that's perhaps what Waldron was referencing, that Ben mentioned in the first half when Ojai was on the same side as Becky or Daly. There's times when an overload is good, and there's times when maybe being spread out a bit more can be preferable. Good work here from Daly. Presley, a sure left-footed clearance. Rocchero. Sanderson, pretty good ball in the path of Alex Morgan. Good defending there between Rocchero and Becca Moros. Sanderson, ambitious take, but she's wide of goal. Another goal kick here for Houston.
Lydia Williams, one of the other Australians who will be part of that team in Brazil this summer. She's got 46 caps for the Matildas, and she's been so solid for the Dash this season. Save of the week from last week. Shutout against Sky Blue a few weeks ago here at BBVA.
Steph Catley draws a foul. Free kick to Orlando. Hermione told us they were very fortunate in both the college draft and the expansion draft. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what players are going to be available, but he was very happy with the pieces they picked up.
And then sometimes you have to deal with, like he did, that they picked up Taryn Hemmings from Chicago, but she made the decision to retire. I also think doing the expansion draft a little earlier, they did it with, I think, end of October, early November. It gave them more time to execute some trades and work on discovery signings. They just signed an international, 2 weeks ago? Leah Fortune from a Brazilian-American player.
Spencer.
You know, and I remember a lot of Dash fans being really upset that, you know, Kling was traded by Houston to Seattle before that expansion draft, and all of that was, well, we knew we were going to have to leave one of the 3 national teamers unprotected. Randy was thinking, well, I might as well get something rather than nothing. And, you know, fortunately, Klingenberg was the odd man out. But with that trade, he picked up Amber Brooks, so the first time that he felt the team really had a true defensive midfielder.
Ojai against Catley, 7 versus 7. Oakes wanted on the far side. There's the patience Waldrum wants, waiting for the right pass. I think Ojai has a flat tire. Maybe not. Looked like she was struggling with one of those cleats, but now she's moving fine. And a good claim by Ashlyn Harris. That was Oakes through the box. Chapman, the left back, getting forward for Houston, but no bobble from the U.S. Women's National Team goalkeeper Ashlyn Harris. And there's a foul called against Riquero. A little push in the back. Seemed a little bit soft for me. Here come the Dash. 3 versus 4. Daly against Presley. And a Deucin thought that time, but O'Sullivan could not get there. More good goalkeeping from Harris.
And you can see that skill on the ball. Rachel Daly playing with that ball, holding it, trying to decide exactly when to feed it through. Looking for that run. She sees the run. It's got a little too much weight on it, so Ashlyn Harris gets there first. But great pressure by the Dash.
And I think, again, that goes back to what Waldrum referenced at the end of the first half, that as Sanderson tries to put in Morgan, a handball called. Morgan might be contending a card should be shown if it was intentional against Riquero. Free kick Orlando. But I think for the Dash, Jen, they don't want to be so reliant on that single pass. So we see the replay. Where does it catch her? Yeah, the arm was extended. May have caught the chest, but I think it caught the arm as well, and the arm was out.
And I wouldn't really call that intentional. And of course, I saw Andressa standing on top of that ball. She was ready for Leanne Sanderson to take a really quick kick. So no, standing in front so that the ref has to set the wall, which means Leanne cannot take the kick until the ref tells her she can.
Good position from Lydia Williams. It was Monica with the outside of her right foot on the first touch. Pretty creative set piece there from Orlando. Pride winner right back. Riquero, good challenge on the near side against the substitute, Sam Whitteman. I think Waldrum would love to have someone joining Ojai on that previous opportunity. Maybe make it a 3 versus 3 situation. So it doesn't have to be that hopeful ball, that ball in front of the goalkeeper, and it takes a spectacular play from Sullivan to the perfect pass. I think those are the instances this year, Jen, where the Dash have been maybe just impatient or too hopeful. Because if it's a goal, it's spectacular, but you're counting on the midfielder beating the goalkeeper to that ball. Catley gets it right back. No pressure on the service. And a good claim from Williams. So Chia's on. Chioma Ubagagu replaces Ojai. Second change made by Randy Waldrum.
Another player of the week after that goal and assist at Kansas City and the Dash's first ever win at Kansas City.
And after the foul is called, let's go down to Ben Crook for more on this substitute.
Yeah, the substitution for Cheese, same type of mentality as with Oaks, just looking for more energy and attack in the attacking third. As she came on, assistant coach Tom Brown was yelling at her, run at him, run at him. So really want to see her making those creative runs in the final third.
Thank you, Ben. Here's Morgan nearly getting on to the end of it, but Williams had it covered. More good sideline work from Ben Crook. So we'll see. This offensive response Waldron wanted has not come to life through 68 minutes, but plenty of time left in this one. Orlando 0-2 on the road in their first season in the league. I think they'd take a point here. Ubagagu. Good work to cut inside. Nice job from Riquero. And now it's a dash throw-in. The 2016 NWSL Championship will be held in Houston, right here at BBVA Compass Stadium on Sunday, October 9. Dash season ticket members will receive priority access. Not a Dash member already? Become a Dash plan holder today to receive tickets to great Dash games, plus the NWSL Championship. For more info, visit houston-soccer.com.
And even if you don't live in Houston, it's worth becoming a Dash member, or at least buying that 4-pack where you get 3 home games and the final, because then you've got dibs on a ticket for the final.
Offside is the call once again. Daly is upset. We saw Waldron a moment ago during that read talking with the center referee, Greg Dopka. A moment before that, he was talking with TJ Zablocki, the near side referee. Talking in a loud voice at the referee. Dangerous ball across the back. Good cut back from Whitteman. Still Whitteman. Shot took a deflection and caught by Williams. That was Moros playing it dangerously to Carrie Riquero. There's Presley going over the top of Rachel Daly. Free kick, Houston. Morgan Bryant, good turn, Ubagagu. And it's over the top.
Interesting to note, Matt, that Morgan Bryant's still out there, but her thigh brace is gone.
Hey, maybe she feels warm, good to go. Doesn't want the restriction.
And we know Coach Jill Ellis is in the house watching. She's probably watching to see how Mo is doing at that defensive mid position.
Here's Daly. Harris once again has no problem. That was a good turn and an early ball from Denise O'Sullivan. But we just have not seen the combination play in that final third from the Dash tonight. Good work from Oaks. She wins it on the far side. Andressa. What are the thoughts of Randy Waldrum on that sideline? I'm sure frustration towards the referees. I think he expected more from his team in this home game tonight, but still 17 minutes plus stoppage time to salvage the full 3 points. Poliana. Andressa, good skill. And Daly cannot get there.
So much of that attack coming up the right side, Matt.
And again, it's just that through ball at the end. It's almost like that's the only option for the Dash. It's their fallback move is they get into that final third, final half of the field, and it's just play a through ball. We haven't seen much differently than that tonight. O'Carroll took too long with it. Now it's Morgan at the end line, and she runs out of room. This coming Tuesday, that's May 24th, Mexican national team star Carlos Vela leads Real Sociedad against the Houston Dynamo in the annual BBVA Compass Dynamo Charities Cup. Be a part of this exciting match with the Liga BBVA 5-game plan. You'll get a ticket to Tuesday's Charities Cup plus 4 of the biggest games on the Dynamo schedule. Details at HoustonDynamo.com. Sociedad had a good season, Jen. They finished tied for 8th in Spain's top flight. They beat Barcelona in April, 1-0.
And you've got Carlos Vela coming in, popular player.
Finished the season with 2 straight wins. Very interesting team. They're from the Basque Country in Spain. A lot of their players are homegrown. They like relying on Basque products. Second Spanish team to ever come to Houston against the Dynamo, previously Valencia in 2012. But I think it's a quality team to come through Houston. Very interesting for the fans on Tuesday.
Third Spanish team to come to Houston. Real Madrid, 1967, the first ever professional soccer game in an indoor stadium in the world. Yes, I am a soccer nerd. Can you believe it? At the Astrodome, Real Madrid versus West Ham United.
That's a fitting matchup for that kind of first-time indoor game. Was it on AstroTurf?
Yeah. And that was to kick off the USA, the United Soccer Association, where they had several professional teams in the US that summer. There's a great book you can buy called The Summer of '67 about that whole season.
Whitteman with the delivery. Too long, goal kick now for Houston. And here comes the final change as Fields enters for Jasmine Spencer. So another of the Florida homegrown products you mentioned, Jen. Fields enters the fray for Tom Sermanni.
Helped Florida State win national championship, 1-0 win. I think that was, 2014. Don't remind Morgan Bryant about that game. She does not want to remember that one.
Whitteman. She's been a spark plug for Orlando. Fields, her first touch is at the edge of the box. Good win here from Catley. Another solid delivery, that time from Sanderson. Dash unable to clear. And O'Sullivan finally does the job for Houston.
Great persistence by the midfielder.
Andressa. Good vision, picks out Oakes. Oakes is in on goal. Oakes! And Harris, two-hand parry away. Unconventional save from Harris, but it works. And now the game opens up. Sanderson unable to keep it in. It's a Houston Dash throw in right at midfield. Andressa picked out the pass.
Oaks trying to get it across the face of goal, but it's a little too close to the near goal. Harris gets her hands on it, able to run out and get the second stop.
You'd probably say the first real chance of the half for the Dash.
And the first chance, first shot on goal for Oaks in a long time. She really hasn't played forward since her first season in NWSL with the Washington Spirit.
Wonderful ball for Andressa. Picks out Ubogagu. Great confidence from Ubogagu, but just ran out of space on that end line. It was Belanger defending. Read the pronunciation too literally in the first half, Jen. That Z-H-A-Y, it's of course a French pronunciation, so it's more Belanger, a soft J. '79th minute with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson, Ben Crook down on the sidelines. Delighted to be here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Second of 4 meetings between these teams. As Fields draws the foul.
And we've got the official attendance for tonight's crowd, 62-93. That makes it 7th all time on the Dash attendance list for home. Not bad at all.
25th all-time home game for the Dash.
That's a good number. I like that.
So 7 out of 25. Here's the delivery. A chance here for Orlando, and it's Chapman there to clear. It came off Morgan. And the second chance is from Edmonds. So another good set piece from Orlando. Here come the Dash. O'Sullivan caught from behind. Free kick to Orlando. That was a good set piece, Jen. Belanger to the head of Morgan, low header.
Great head down, but Chapman is in the right place because Williams can't get it, but Chappie gets it out.
Been some crafty set pieces tonight from the Pride. Here's Daly. And there we go again. Just another hopeful through ball. Here's Morgan Bryant. Sanderson, good effort. From an England native, now 50 caps for her national team. Whitteman, more good play from her. Good block from Poliana. And Roquero with a half clearance. Sanderson. And a shot off the underside of the crossbar and in. It's Kristen Edmonds. What a strike. 1-0 Orlando.
And that's the player we were talking about, Matt. That is her first professional goal, first ever NWSL goal.
Way too much space in midfield for the Dash. That ball came from Sanderson right through the middle, 25 yards from goal. She picks her head up, right through the middle. And a wonderful strike. Just a touch off the underside of the crossbar.
Yeah, hitting under that crossbar, there's really nothing that Lydia Williams is going to be able to do. And just like Tom Sermani was telling us that Edmonds, the biggest surprise of the players that he acquired via trade, expansion draft, college draft. She had the assist last week on Alex Morgan's goal of the week, and that could very likely be a goal of the week candidate.
Sensational strike from Edmonds. And the Dash in danger of going 0-2 in their first 2 meetings with their expansion Orlando Pride. Desperate times here at BBVA Compass Stadium for the Houston Dash. Morgan Bryant. Poliana. Now Chapman. Ubogagu nearly got there. Brave clearance from Ashlyn Harris. Good delivery from Chapman. Here comes Orlando. They have the lead on the road, looking for their first ever road win in the NWSL. Morgan away from Moros. Sanderson. As the flag comes up. Now we'll see the final change for Randy Waldrum. It's going to be Amber Brooks coming on for Alicia Chapman. So a central midfielder or central defender coming on for the outside back. So Bryan will play 90 minutes tonight. I don't think Chapman realizes it's her that's coming off. And now she hustles off from the far side.
With Amber Brooks coming on, that's 3 players on the field, Matt, who got their first national team cap under Tom Sermanni. So Amber Brooks, Ashlyn Harris, and Morgan Bryan.
Let's go down to Ben Crook with more on this substitution. We'll get down to Ben in a moment. It looks like Brooks is going into the center of midfield. 3 at the back now for the Dash, with Morrow sliding left. O'Carroll, the lone center back. Poliana alone on the right. Andressa. Here's Steph Oakes. O'Sullivan joining. Ubogagu. An eye for O'Sullivan, too heavy. Oakes can't get there. A goal kick for Orlando, and now back down to Ben Crook.
Yeah, guys, Amber Brooks comes in as a defensive midfielder. Rebecca Moros, a natural outside back, moves outside. 3 in the back for the Dash. Denise O'Sullivan moves up higher on the field. She played as a forward in Ireland, so a natural fit for everybody on the field, just trying to get more numbers upfield to try to get that equalizer.
Thank you, Ben. Here's Brooks. Lost out to Fields. Throw in Houston.
Not a lot of time left, Matt. This could be another shutout for the Dash at home, being shut out. And this would be the Orlando Pride's first road win.
Yeah, it has to be frustrating. So much skill in the midfield for the Dash. Athleticism and skill up front, but not much going forward, to be honest, in terms of creativity and varying the attacks. Here comes Bryan. Ubogagu. O'Sullivan muscled off by Monica. Amber Brooks, her left foot! And it's caught by Harris. That was a good strike from Brooks from about 35 yards away.
Now that's how you announce your presence with authority.
Take the defensive out of midfielder as Brooks tries to equalize from distance.
Brooks from distance, nice left-footed shot, but right to Ashlyn Harris, no problem for the keeper on that one. But good to see, I mean, in a way that's mixing it up. That's creating offense from somewhere that the Orlando Pride wouldn't have been expecting.
The goal scorer, Kristen Edmonds, is assessed by the Orlando training staff. Edmonds' goal right now would be the game winner. Don't miss the Dash as they take on Washington Spirit Friday, May 27th at 7:30 p.m. right here at BBVA Compass Stadium. Tickets are on sale now. Log on to HoustonDynamo.com today for your tickets. Washington, a good run last year, and they've turned that into a great start to this season. 4 wins, 1 tie, Jen, 7 goals scored, just 1 against. Clearly the class of the league so far.
Great performance that Washington Spirit has seen from Stephanie Labe, who will probably be the starting keeper for Canada this summer since Aaron McLeod went out injured. She's been a big reason that they've held teams scoreless. And even without Crystal Dunn seeing any goals, she's still been creating a lot of assists for her team.
Restart from Houston. And Harris out to claim. Chicago second place at the moment, 3 wins, a loss, and a tie. So they're unbeaten in their 4 games since losing in Houston in the middle of April. Morgan, veteran play, takes it towards the corner. Short ball towards Fields. And a free kick now for Orlando in just moments away from second half stoppage time. And we'll see 3 minutes added on. Free kick for Houston. Andressa was fouled. You know, it takes a lot to keep her down, Jen. She is a tough midfielder. Don't let her young age fool you. We've seen her throughout the season and last year. One of the most competitive players on the team.
Yeah, she just turned 21 early this month. Such a fighter. Earned a lot of calls so far this season for the Dash. Big part of Brazil's future.
Yeah, it was Maddie Evans, the last substitute for Orlando, who argued the call. Orlando actually playing down a man at this moment. It will be 10 versus 10 with Andressa coming off, but Edmonds, the goal scorer, receives some treatment. Now he's getting some final instructions from Tom Sermani on the Pride bench. 10 versus 10 here in second half stoppage time. About 90 seconds to 2 minutes left in this one. And this game might just end 10 versus 10. Good point from Ben Crook on the bench. Don't want to risk a further injury to Edmonds. We'll see if Andressa can rejoin. She's having her left leg stretched out, maybe a hamstring or a calf. But here we go. Morgan Bryant. Denise O'Sullivan. It was 3 minutes to be added on at the start of the stoppage time. Then you had the injury to Andressa, so maybe they'll add another 30 seconds or so. Dash need a goal. Amber Brooks. Too long for Ubogagu. It's been a disjointed second half for the Dash going forward, Jen. Isolated players, isolated runs.
We had that stretch where we saw a lot of attempts on goal, but none of them able to finish, usually right to the keeper or just off frame or right into defense.
If this result holds, Orlando jumps to second place in the NWSL. Who saw that coming for an expansion team? Maybe they did.
Of course, you've got 4 more games this weekend to play, and Portland and Washington, the only 2 undefeated teams remaining in the league, face off in Portland.
O'Sullivan, she was fouled. Free kick Houston. This might be their last gasp. It was Edwards tripping up O'Sullivan. Morgan Bryan displaying urgency to take it.
Great turn by Sullivan, but no one there to really help her to feed that ball too. But she won the free kick.
2-man wall Orlando, either Ubogagu or Morgan Bryan. Everyone forward but Lydia Williams for the Dash. Waldrum wants Ubogagu to join the penalty area.
Many people in there as possible.
This might be the game's final play. Low service! Poliana first to it, but couldn't swivel the hips enough to get it on target. And there's the full-time whistle. A disappointing return home for the Houston Dash. A fall at home. Wonderful goal from Kristen Edmonds, her first of this year. And her first professional goal is the difference. The Dash, 2 matchups with Orlando and 2 Pride wins in their first NWSL season. They get their first ever road victory to go with 3 home wins.
And now they're sitting in second place in the standings. That could change over this weekend. But like you said, first road win. They haven't lost at home. That's a great way to start the season. 6 games in and they're sitting pretty.
All right, we'll be joined momentarily by Kristen Edmonds. She is down on the field with Ben Crook.
Hey, so we're first career goal, not a bad one to get.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great pass from Lee, and I knew as soon as she passed to me that I was going to shoot it, and I just had to have a good first touch, and I did, and then I just tried to bury it.
So first road win for you guys, and the second over the Dash. How big is this to get you guys going on the road?
I mean, yeah, we're on a winning streak right now, so we want to keep the momentum going, especially that we're on a 4-game road trip right now, so it's good to have the momentum and be away from home at the same time.
Great, thank you so much. Back up to you guys.
All right, thank you, Ben, and thank you to Kristen Edmonds for the time. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll look at highlights from this one and wrap things up. Orlando comes to Houston after a weather delay yesterday. No problem tonight to get a second half goal from Kristen Edmonds. Final score from BBVA Compass Stadium. It's Orlando Pride 1, Houston Dash 0.
The reason we're riding across the country this summer is to make sure that the center is here for another 20 or 30 years. The center is Houston's oldest organization that supports people with disabilities.
We believe at BBVA Compass that everybody deserves a bright future. And if we could do our simple, small part to help bring a brighter future to others, that's why we got involved.
And that's what it's all about, you know, it's about participating, that positive energy, and being a part of helping something grow.
BHP Billiton is a leading global resources company with mining and oil and gas interests worldwide. Our reputation is built on proven performance, helping provide the energy that keeps the world moving, cities growing, communities thriving. And we combine this innovative spirit with a commitment to sustainability, developing natural resources with responsibility and integrity, today and for years to come. BHP Billiton, resourcing the future.
It's La Liga BBVA versus Major League Soccer. Mexican national team stars Carlos Vela, Diego Reyes, and Real Sociedad take on Raul Rodriguez and the Houston Dynamo. Get your tickets now for the 8th annual BBVA Compass Dynamo Charities Cup, May 24th at BBVA Compass Stadium.
Working with the Houston Astros to pioneer less invasive treatments for shoulder injuries. Using advanced training programs to help the Houston Dynamo and Dash avoid injury. And using innovative healing techniques to get the Houston Texans back on the field faster. Working with elite athletes to better treat the everyday athlete. That's the difference between practicing medicine and leading it. Houston Methodist, leading medicine.
Back at BBVA Compass Stadium in Houston, Texas. And welcome inside the broadcast booth with Jen Cooper. I'm Matt Peterson, and Jen, a disappointing night for the Dash. Randy Waldrum talked to us yesterday, said the mentality this week was just that, a better mentality, more urgency, psychology. They couldn't get the offense going, and they fall at home to the Pride.
Right, their first road loss of this home loss of the season, not getting it done. Sorry about that, not getting it done. And, you know, this is the biggest time to get those points. You know, you only have 10 home games. We're about to enter the time when you start to lose the national team players. And we saw so many attempts on goal, but not the finishes that they need.
All right, let's get to the highlights from this one. We'll go to the second half highlights for this game.
All right, Whitteman had a shot, 57th minute, shot over goal, the rookie out of Berkeley. Andressa crossing to Poliana, not being able to finish. She got her head down, but couldn't get it on frame. Steph Oaks making a run into the box, but great save by Ashlyn Harris. Rachel Daly taking her time, trying to wait that ball for Denise O'Sullivan, but just a little too much on it. Again, so much attack coming up that right side, but just not enough variation, creativity. Love that shot from Steph Oaks. And then what could have been the first goal, that ball in for Alex Morgan. Alicia Chapman keeps it out, but here is the goal. Leanne Sanderson over to Kristen Edmonds for her first professional goal in over 2 seasons with NWSL. Right under the bar. I don't think there's anything Lydia Williams could do about that. Orlando getting their first road win and 3 points from that match. Amber Brooks is a late sub, trying to help her team out, taking that shot from distance, but it's right to the keeper.
And I look at our final stats. The Dash had a slight edge in a few categories after 45 minutes. In the end, the Pride evens up the shot count, fouls about even, just a few corner kicks for each team. Now to the updated NWSL standings. As you see, the Pride now in second place after their first road win. Some congestion throughout the standings.
And of course, you have 4 other matches happening this weekend, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. So of course, we'll see some movement, but very key 3 points for the Pride. You've got Washington Spirit, Portland Thorns, the only undefeated teams at this point, facing off tomorrow. So it's, Houston Dash have a big road ahead of them now.
Yeah, final thoughts on this one. I think it's a very tricky week of practice, Jen. You have to deal with Washington coming in, very good team led by Crystal Dunn, very good defensive team, but I think there's some issues offensively with 3 up front, who's behind them, how they play as a team, finding the right combination play. We did not see it tonight, and Waldrum really hasn't found it at any point this season with his team. He wants more consistency.
And maybe one of the things that the Dash can look to is they won't be traveling. And of course, Washington Spirit won't have Allie Krieger and Crystal Dunn because they will be reporting to U.S. National Team Camp next Friday. So perhaps that's the edge that the Dash need, and maybe this offense can find its rhythm.
Well, an opportunity to get back in the win column next Friday. It's the Houston Dash hosting the Washington Spirits. That's it from BBVA Compass Stadium. We thank you for joining us here tonight. A wonderful goal late in the second half was the difference. New Jersey native Kristen Edmonds off a feed from Leanne Sanderson. And that was all that Orlando needed to steal 3 points. 2 more meetings between these teams. The Dash trying to get back at it next week against Washington. For Jen Cooper, our producer Brock Jessel, this is Matt Peterson signing off from BBVA Compass Stadium. It's the Pride 1, the Houston Dash nothing.